Welcome to Clothesline Theatre. We have been waiting for you to tune in to hear tales of Prince Edward Island, a place of history and some mystery. You may be surprised by the true stories that have been unearthed and brought to life by our radio dramas. We invite you to settle into a comfortable chair and let the voices and sounds trigger your imagination as you hear the following dramatic story.
A bicycle boom hit Canada in the 1890s, and Prince Edward Island was in the thick of it. The bike had its beginnings in 1817 with the invention of the hobby horse, a two-wheeled, human-propelled machine. By the 1880s, bicycles were a means of private and commercial transportation, as well as a form of recreation and amusement. This was due to the development of the safety bike, which had two wheels of equal size for a safer mount and pneumatic tires for a smoother ride. Also, the increase in the number of bike manufacturers in North America put the bike within financial reach of the average person. Summerside businesses, such as the R.T. Wheelmen department store, were capitalizing on the demand.
Come on, Joe. We need to get these bikes out on the floor before lunch. Mr. Wheelmen, along with every other merchant in this town, is on the warpath in anticipation of big bike sales. Wheelmen and wheelwomen are hungry for the new models.
Hang on to your shorts, Larry. You can only unload so fast. Don't know how to knock these beauties about and chip the paint. Boy, these bikes just keep getting better and better. I think the one called the Yellow Fellow, being manufactured by E.C. Stearns and Company from Syracuse, New York. Yeah, that'll be the big seller this spring. Sure is a handsome bike. Look here, they even have a Yellow Fellow for women. Tag reads, for the modern liberated woman.
They know what they're doing. Syracuse is the hub of bike manufacturing right now, and apparently Stearns is producing 500 machines a day. The market must be pretty well theirs.
Well, I can't agree with that, Bill. I think that the Red Bird made by the Gould Bicycle Company of Brantford, Ontario will be a top seller. Just look at the seat on that Red Bird. Oh, now that's a comfortable seat.
You may be right. They say the Red Bird is just popular from one end of the Dominion to the other, but I can't see it making which one a fellow buys. They're both bound to give every satisfaction, and the price and terms on any of the bikes in stock can't be beat.
Yeah, who would ever thought we'd see bike prices ranging from $40 to $75? I wouldn't have believed it could happen.
Well, it's called competition, Joe, but bikes are creating quite the stir. They say they are getting so popular in the big cities that streetcar revenues are falling. All the young men are using them to get to work and for play.
They are the way to get around. The Pioneer newspaper reported that Walter Dowell biked up from Charlottetown to Summerside in the fast time of 3 hours and 3/4. Now that's moving.
Sure is. And while the speed, used in the right way, is a great thing, scorching is being indulged in at night by a number of bicyclists on the streets of Summerside. Town needs to put a stop to that activity.
The number of wheelmen seen flitting along across the island increased in the early 1890s, and bike clubs were formed for camaraderie and self-promotion. One club was the Summerside Park Cycle Club, formed in 1893, and while its official meeting headquarters was a room in Ludlow Hall, several of the boys had a room very nicely and conveniently fitted up at the Summerside Driving Park. The Park Cycle Club uniform was a dark suit with white sweater trimmed in scarlet. It was not long before the various island clubs joined forces to put forth serious biking concerns. They wanted improvements to country roads, and they wanted their share of the road.
Gentlemen, I call this meeting to order. Thank you for coming out this evening to discuss issues of concern to all of us. I am T.D. Grady, president of the Park Cycle Club. As many of you already know, the bicycle is gaining in popularity. It serves many purposes. It is not only a great mode of transportation, but is healthy for body and mind. It is also serving as a great boost for world economies. Not only are there manufacturing and retail jobs, but repair shops and storage rental facilities are springing up everywhere. It's good for everyone. However, wheelmen on Prince Edward Island are forever dealing with the deplorable conditions of our country roads. It often proves dangerous to the wheelman and his bike when he goes out for a ride.
Excuse me, Mr. Grady. I would like you to broaden your language to note that many women also participate in biking. You should be using terms wheelmen and wheelwomen, or wheel persons.
Please, Miss McLean, you are distracting us from our real purpose at this meeting.
Respectable women should not be biking, let alone being out in public wanting to be recognized for the behavior.
Shame on you for your ignorance. Biking is indeed a respectable and healthy pastime for women. The manufacturers have even designed bikes especially for us.
Please, Miss McLean, we are not here to talk about biking and women. We are here to talk about deplorable road conditions on this island, which I will admit affect even wheel women.
The chair is right. The country roads on this island are a constant hardship to anyone who must travel on them. It doesn't matter if you're driving a horse and carriage, horse and truck wagon, or a bike. The experience is the same. If you're not bogged down in mud in spring or after a rainstorm, then you're being shook to death by the ruts. While I ain't much for these bicycles, I agree that we can work together in demanding better roads from our government. Good roads will be a benefit to all.
Here, here. Put it to a vote.
Those in favor of petitioning the island government for better roads across the province, please raise your right hand. Not you, Miss McLean. Women do not have a vote or influence in the government.
It's only a matter of time.
What world does she live in?
Vote carried. Now for the second item on the agenda. Wheelmen, when out on their wheels, want their share of the road. As it now stands, many horses and carriage drivers will not give wheelmen sufficient room to pass. And since the ditch is a very poor place for a bicycle wheel, we are forced to dismount and wait for the way to become clear. This greatly delays us in our progress.
So you think I should haul off and give half the road when some whippersnapper of a dude approaches on a bicycle?
Yes, and we believe under current law we have a right to part of the wagon track.
Never going to happen. The horse and carriage will reign supreme.
Let us stay calm and rational. We are not proposing to speed along heedlessly where horses are frightened by this most modern of conveyances.
Of course not. When we see a horse that is evidently scared by the bicycle, we will stop.
It would be most ungentlemanly not to stop, and if need be, to take the wheel to one side, and, if necessary, to lay it down.
I'm sure the clubs will only be too glad to have cases of ungentlemanly conduct on the part of wheelmen, if there should be any, reported to them.
No doubt in time, most horses will get used to the bicycle just like they had to get used to the trains.
As a horseman, I want to state that they have never adjusted to the train. But for the most part, the train can be avoided. If you wheelmen get what you want, there will be just more and more of you in our way. I will not support giving up a share of the wagon track.
Little did both the wheelmen and the horse owners know that they were both going to be pushed aside on the road by the coming of the automobile. The bike fad peaked by 1896, and the decline began with the bike becoming, over time, associated with a child's toy. That is, until the 1970s, when the bike revival began again, reigniting the debate about rights to the road. History is always relevant. Wheelmen want their share of the road. Presented by Wyatt Heritage Properties Incorporated. Narrator Stuart Smith. Larry Wayne Wright. Joe Wayne Murphy. Bill Roger Ahern. Mr. Grady Brent Slater. Miss McLean Leslie Noonan. Man 1 Paul McWilliams. Man 2 Albert Goody. Wheelman 1 Greg Weeks. Wheelman 2 Jordan Stetson. Wheelman 3 Dan Casely. Horseman 4 Man 2 Albert Goody. Introduction Lowell Eustis. Musician Christine Anderson Gallant. Foley's Alexandra Gallant, Nathan Wiley, Krista Bryson. Recording artist Peter Gallant. Scripts written by Marlene Campbell. Scripts researched by Jean McKay. This project has been supported by the Building Communities through Arts and Heritage Program, Department of Canadian Heritage.